Welcome to In the Kitchen with Dinah. Today I'm going to show you how to make Danish apple bars.
Someone's in the kitchen with Dinah. Someone's in the kitchen, I know. Someone's in the kitchen with Dinah. Gonna taste good, I know.
So Danish apple bars has been probably one of my most favorite desserts of my whole life. Like, I asked for it for my birthday dessert. Good. Between that and chocolate cake. So if you love apple pie, you'll love this. And if you don't like apple pie, you'll probably like this even better. So it's got a scratch crust. We're gonna put some apples in it. It's pretty simple. And I just really love it, especially in the fall with all the fall apples. So let's get started. We're gonna need 2.5 cups of flour. All right, so this is kind of a traditional pastry pie crust, but it's got some egg in it, so it adds extra richness to it. That's probably why I like it so much. So I've got a whole cup of shortening, which is just one of these sticks. We got a teaspoon of salt. And we're gonna work it in with a pastry blender. All right, that looks about good. All right, so like I said, there's egg in this pie dough, and it makes it richer. There's also some milk. So we're gonna crack an egg. We need to separate out the white from the yolk. So we're gonna put the white in this, which we're gonna use as a meringue on the top later, and put the egg in a measuring cup because we're gonna top it off with milk. And of course, this egg did not crack very great. Wow, okay, I won't complain, it was perfect. All right, so put the yolk in there. Just throw that in the sink. So set this to the side, we're gonna use it here in a minute. And then you've got your egg yolk in a cup measure. We're gonna fill milk into it till it's 2/3 cup. And these handy tilted ones are pretty great when you're doing this. You don't have to eyeball it so bad. So up to the 2/3 line. Then I like to poke the yolk and then stir it into the milk a little. It just helps it get incorporated so that when we add it to our shortening flour salt mixture. All right, so here we go. And I just pour it in. And I like to use a fork and I just start on the outside and I kind of pull it in. This is kind of like a slab apple pie, but on a whole different level. It's so good. All right, so this comes together pretty quickly. Does that smell so good, Denver? What I do need is a little flour from my bench here. You are going to get messy hands, so. Okay. So I just keep mixing the dough. I'll just sit it in here till it comes together, because we're going to use half of this for the bottom and half of this for the top. All right, that looks about right. So I just kind of put it into a ball, kind of guess, half and half. Okay, so set that aside. You don't want too much flour, but you want enough so that it doesn't stick to your counter. And we're going for a long, kind of oval shape. Put a little on your rolling pin so it doesn't stick. Then I keep moving it a little underneath so it doesn't stick. You can, if you do rip the dough, it's kind of easy to fix, but it's just easier to stop and take your time. And you want it pretty thin. I'm going to sneeze here in a second. Whoops. If it keeps sticking, just put a little more on your rolling pin. Trying to get it to grow in the right direction here. All right, so I got a big cookie sheet here and I'm kind of eyeballing it. I think that looks pretty good. All right, so one of the tricks is to lay your rolling pin down and really gently roll it back on the rolling pin. Cameraman, you're gonna need to follow me here. I just roll it down. All right, so I'm gonna wash and I'll be right back. So I picked up my rolling pin and moved it down and I'm patching it just a little and I'll show you why in a second. But first we're gonna grab some cornflakes and we're gonna sprinkle them on the bottom. I know that sounds weird, but I'll tell you why. So I just use a couple handfuls of cornflakes. We're gonna crunch them down here on it. This is very important because the apples in the fall are super juicy, at least the ones I use today. We're using honeycrisp because that's what I had. Some of my favorites are like Jonagolds, Jonathan's, or Fuji's work really well too. But this soaks up all the apple juice when the apples are baking and it makes this really yummy strudely filling. I don't know how to say that. Anyway. I'm gonna go over a little more. All right. You want to kind of keep them away from the edge because we're going to need to crimp our edge of our pie or our pastry dough. So, okay, that looks great. So we've got our bed of cornflakes down. Let's come back over here. Set the dough. He needs this. Okay, here you go. Sit down. Oh, you dropped it. He tried. All right, so one of the great things that you will need in your life, I will say, because I've had this one for a really long time, is an apple peeler corer. You put the apple on here and you twist it, it peels it, it cores it, and it makes it in this really cool spiral thing. Kids love to snack on them this way, and it's fun for them to do it. So if you don't have one of these, I'll link it in the description below, and I'll also have the recipe in the description below. So you pop the apple on here. This is gonna cut it, and then you just hold on to it. I usually do this over the sink so that all the peels can just go into the sink, but it's really fun. It's great if you make a lot of apple pies, if you make apple sauce, but there you go. It's like, oh, it broke. But it's really fun, really fun. So we're gonna just peel and core these here quick. And actually the kids like to eat these too. They're like eating snakes. My kids would sit and eat them all day long. All right, so I'm just gonna take us a couple minutes and get this done. We'll be back. All right, so we've got these all peeled and cored and ready to go. One of the great things about this, it's super fun, is if you take these down and just cut down one side, you've got, I'll show you, you've got really great apple rings. Should be more like this. And you can dip them in my pancake batter and sizzle them with the pancake batter. They are really delicious for breakfast. But for this application, we're gonna slice them down both sides. So you've got half moons. We're gonna spread them all over the crust. And it's okay that there's a little skin. It adds color and adds some flavor. So we're gonna make this just this huge mound of apples. So one thing we need to do really quick is preheat our oven to 350 degrees. Let's do that. So this would be a fun recipe to have your kids maybe help you peel, core, and do all the apples and actually place them on here. And you can kind of see why we need the cornflakes underneath, because there's a whole puddle of apple juice sitting over there. And it's gonna just soak it up so great. Depending on the size of your apple, you might need to either add one or subtract them. If they're great big huge apples, you probably won't need as many. But usually I need somewhere between 6 and 8. Because they cook down too, so it's going to be not this fat when you eat it. That's why I'm kind of being careful how I stack them. So, okay, we got one more here. One of the secrets I'll have to tell you is that most people don't like to eat the edge pieces, but the edge pieces on this are the very best because they soak up all the apple juice and it tastes so good. Everybody skips it and you're like, I will take that edge piece. It is a whole different kind of apple pie crust. It's so good. This would be super yummy for the holidays, but my birthday's coming, so this might be my birthday dessert. That and chocolate cake. I don't know. It's kind of a toss-up. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to grab 1 cup of sugar and some cinnamon. We're going to sprinkle it on the top. So let's grab some sugar. Right, so we're just going to sprinkle it on top. I know this sounds like a lot, but it's pretty much what you put in a pie. If your apples are super sweet, you could cut back a little. It seems like a ton. Get the middle. Okay. The recipe says a teaspoon of cinnamon, and you can measure it if you want, but I just shake it on. Does that smell good, Denver? I think that looks about right. All right, oh, that smells so delicious. Okay, so now we're gonna take the other half of our crust. Grab my flour here. And make a lid for all that. See if I can get this one on straighter than the last one. I haven't made this for like a whole year. Okay. That's sad. Ooh. I can feel it sticking when it doesn't move on the counter when I'm rolling it, and I want it to continue to move. Let's put some more. Now that it's been sitting on the counter too, it's warmed up, so it makes it a little trickier. This one we want to make sure we get it the right size so that it fits right on top of that. So we're going to have to get all the edges rolled over or we'll lose all the juice, which we don't want to do. Does that look about right? Okay. Okay, now you say a prayer. Roll it back on. Wow. Look at that. So if this happens, see, I've got some stuck on over here, sticking out, but I've got extra over here. I just peel some off and glue it on. And we'll probably have to do that in a couple places here, just to make sure everything is covered. Because this is, well, the dough is tender. So you're just going to take it and crimp it all the way around, making sure there's no apples or anything sticking out. It's really close to the edge, it's a little tricky. Down here where there's like perfection, I just squish it down. And don't worry if you have to paste and cut like I'm doing. It's kind of like a craft project. I have some egg whites we're going to put on here, and it makes them all, I don't know, almost like a meringue. And
right here, I mean, there's a bottom, a base.
Oh gosh, let's fix that. Thank you for seeing that.
I get to eat it, so I gotta make it right.
That's right. Get my patch kit here. Oops, there's another one. There's lots of dough here. Glue all your holes shut. Okay, I think I'm satisfied with that. Yeah, I think I'm good. So set that aside. Let's see if we can clean up a little bit of mess here.
You want your bench scrape?
I do. Can you grab it for me? Thank you. All right, so this is the bench scraper. Oh, our oven's hot. Take a minute, clean up this flour mess. And see all the pie dough that just comes up? This really is such a great tool for this. Okay, in the bowl it goes. Okay, we're gonna set that aside. Leave your hands messy because the next step you're gonna get messier. So grab your stand mixer and we've got the egg white in here. We're gonna beat it till it's almost stiff peaks. So it'll be a second. Okay, there you go. See those peaks there? So with your hand, I go in here. We're going to smear this all over the top. This bakes, it gets golden brown. It is kind of like meringue. It is so amazing. I've tried it with a spatula, but your hand really is the best tool for this job. Get all the way down. There, that looks great. Okay, so now we're going to bake this for 1 hour in a 350-degree oven. So as that is baking in the oven, I usually get my glaze. We're going to drizzle all this delicious glaze on the top. So it's a cup of powdered sugar. Got a little bit of vanilla. And a tablespoon of water, and in it goes. Then I just take my little whisk and get it all together. Then I just set it aside and wait for it to come out And when it's still hot, as soon as we get it out of the oven, we're gonna drizzle all this over that toasty meringue. It really makes it over the top delicious. These are terrific served hot with ice cream, of course. Or you can serve them cold. It's almost like an adult Pop-Tart. Okay, so we got this. I'm gonna set this aside, clean up the mess, and we'll be back in an hour when those Danish apple bars are out of the oven. All right, so I checked these and they're coming out about 3 minutes early. All these times are kind of approximate. So this took about 56 minutes instead of the whole hour, but I can see they're nice and golden brown and beautiful. You can see in here where we did a patch job and the apple juice still leaked out, which is fine. Okay, these smell so incredibly delicious. See how the beaten egg whites have made it all golden brown and it's crispy and delicious. So we've had our drizzle sitting here and it's a little thick because it sits there. So take just a tiny bit of water and it'll loosen it right back up again. Now, the artistic part, you just want to drizzle this all over it. These are fabulous for any of the holidays coming, or just because it's fall. It'd be wonderful for a brunch because it is apple and pie crust. It is kind of like a Pop-Tart. So down here, I didn't get it sealed all the way and some of the apple juice leaked out from baking, and that's gonna happen, that's totally fine. Note that this edge piece is the best one to eat. So you just wanna let this cool, I would say 20 minutes to a half an hour before you cut into it. So if you wanna have this and you're having guests over for dinner, make it, I don't know, even an hour or a couple hours before. It's still gonna be warm and so delicious. It's actually great even the next day cold. So it's been a half an hour since we took the Danish apple bars out of the oven. It's still hot to touch, but we're gonna go ahead and cut into it. Everything should be good. It's gonna be perfect right now to serve. If not, I mean, you can wait until it's cold, that's fine too, but who has time for that? Oh, can you hear that? That's magic. Sometimes it likes to stick even though we sprayed it. Remember what I told you about this edge piece? I'm letting all the secrets out. It looks so good. So you can see the apple in there and the cinnamon. I don't know if you can see. We'll get another shot here. You can't even tell that there's cornflakes in there. It just soaks, it just got all soaked up in there. Flaky crust. Can't even cut it. This is so good. Requires a happy dance. It's so good. It's my favorite. And I don't make it very often. So if you've made it this far with me, you are my kind of people. So give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on the bell for notifications so you don't miss out on any more goodies coming down the pipe. Thank you so much for watching today. I really appreciate all the support and I hope you try this. If you do, comment below. And if you don't, comment below. I hope you guys have a great day and enjoy these delicious Danish apple bars. Ready? Okay. I've never gotten it on there so crooked in my life. Okay, so I hope you...
I'm sorry, my shot was on your face.
So it's been about a half.
Sorry. No, I wasn't trying to take you on that.
But you're always like, no faces. Oh my word.
Here we go.
Bleh. I can't talk and chew at the same time. Can you cut that?
Gonna taste good, I know.